We've also got some breaking developments. The man accused of the Gilgo Beach murders appearing in court just a moment ago. Rex Heuermann and his defense wanted to break up the cases against him. They're also pushing for critical DNA evidence to be taken off of the table. The judge today deciding a hearing on that will take place March 28th. Heuermann has pled not guilty to killing 7 women more than a decade ago. Laura Ingle has been on this case from the start, joins us outside the courthouse. What is the DA saying right now, Laura?
You know, he is really pushing to get this DNA evidence. Obviously, this is so important, right? The hairs that were found on some of the victims that have been tested and linked back to either Rex Heuermann, his wife, or his daughter, hairs that may have come from inside of the Heuermann home in Massapequa Park on Long Island. That is key to this case, and that is what he is fighting to get in. As you mentioned, this critical hearing is going to be on March 28th, and that finally gets us one step closer to getting a trial date on the books. So today we saw Rex Heuermann. He appeared in court handcuffed, wearing a suit and tie. He didn't speak while listening to the details about this hearing, but we did get a glimpse of the accused serial killer firsthand. His defense has been fighting to separate the charges as well of the 7 victims that Heuermann is accused of killing, asking for 5 separate trials, while Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney insists they should all be tried at once. So we had 2 matters on the books today. The judge didn't rule on the trial separation matter. That could come in a written ruling in the coming months. Prosecutors confirmed that 4 expert witnesses will testify as what is known as a Fry hearing to defend the DNA testing used in the case. The defense claiming this method has never been used in a criminal case nationwide except for once in Idaho, and calls it new science that shouldn't be admitted. The judge, as you mentioned, scheduled the first witness to testify on March 28th, and will decide later how many additional hearings will be needed. We also learned, Marni, that the court received new discovery files, including a hard drive provided to the defense with additional case materials. And prosecutors also pushing back on separating the trials, saying, look, if you go into 5 trials instead of 1, we're talking about a lot of money and a lot of time to get to an end conclusion here. Marni?
It'll be interesting to see what the judge decides on that. Laura, what did we hear from Heuermann's defense team after court?
Yeah, we heard from both sides. And listen, the court hearing was really short, but the press conferences after these court hearings is where we get a lot of our information. And that is exactly what happened today. So as we heard from, we'll talk about Ray Tierney first, because I wanted to ask him about some of the victims that have yet to be unidentified. We've been talking about Asian Doe and a female victim known as Peaches. I asked him at this press conference if they have been identified yet, because that's a big part of this case. He would only say, quote, those individuals have not been publicly identified. So I asked him if that means if he has the identities himself, and then he smirked and said he could not say that they have been publicly identified. So that gives us an indication that possibly they know who these 2 victims are. So we're going to hear more on that. One major development revealed today on the issue of the Suffolk County frozen assets. That's something that we've talked about as well. This money that's been frozen has now been unfrozen, DA Ray Tierney says. $13 million has been seized in the county's funds has been released after years of legal wranglings. That money, he says, could pay for new equipment and investigative overtime, including work on the Long Island serial killer case. And to your point about Michael Brown, that is the defense attorney for Rex Heuermann. He says, look, his client wants to get this show on the road and he wants to get to trial. Now we've got that first step of March 28th, and hopefully a trial date set soon after that. Marni?
As always, appreciate the update. Laura Ingle, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.